The Art of Money Getting by Phineas Taylor Barnum. Introduction. The real secret behind wealth, that nobody talks about. You've probably heard 1,000 different takes on how to get rich. Hustle harder. Invest smarter. Think bigger. Wake up earlier. Manifest more. But back in the 1800s, long before the rise of modern self-help or entrepreneurship YouTube channels, one man had already cracked the code, and explained it with more clarity, honesty, and common sense than most wealth experts today. That man was P.T. Barnum, and The Art of Money Getting is his blueprint. But let me be clear, this isn't a book about tricks. It's not about schemes, hacks, or shortcuts. It's about principles. Timeless ones. The kind that work in any era, for any person, in any business. The kind that are almost too simple to notice, and yet too powerful to ignore once they click. What Barnum lays out in this short but potent book is something deeper than just how to make money. He explains how to think about money, how to treat it, how to attract it, how to use it with character and confidence, and most importantly, how to build the kind of personal foundation that makes wealth a natural result, not a constant chase. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit: money isn't just about numbers. It's about how you carry yourself in the world. It's about discipline, reliability, energy, mindset, and courage. And if you don't have those things in place, no strategy will save you. But once you do, money starts to follow you like gravity. In this full breakdown, I'm going to walk you through exactly what Barnum teaches, with a fresh, modern perspective. And if you stay with me through the end, you'll leave with something way more valuable than a few money tips. You'll walk away with a mindset that creates wealth from the inside out. We're going to explore how character is your greatest capital, how self-respect multiplies your opportunities, why people go broke trying to look rich, why luck is wildly overrated, and how you can quietly, steadily, and confidently build a fortune, no matter where you're starting from. And here's the part that'll surprise you. This book isn't just about financial wealth. It's about living with dignity and direction. Barnum believed that money, when earned through honest effort and smart decisions, brings freedom, and freedom is what allows you to live fully. So, this isn't a guide for hustlers. It's a guide for builders. For people who want to create something solid. Something lasting. Something that reflects their values and vision, and pays them well in the process. Let's begin. Part 1. Do it with all your might. If there's one sentence that captures the soul of the art of getting money, it's this: whatever you do, do it with all your might. Barnum doesn't waste time on fluff. He starts by making it clear, the key to success isn't some secret formula, it's how fully you show up to what's already in front of you. It sounds simple, almost too basic. But pause for a second and ask yourself, do you really do that? Do you actually give your best to what you're working on every day? Or do you hold back, wait for motivation, dabble in a dozen things at once, or quit before the real effort even begins? Barnum had no patience for half-hearted effort. He believed that one of the biggest reasons people stayed broke wasn't lack of talent, but lack of commitment. People drift from job to job, business to business, idea to idea, always hoping the next thing will be the one. But he says plainly, it's not the idea that matters most, it's how deep you dig where you're planted. And when he says, do it with all your might, he doesn't just mean work harder. He means bring your energy, your intelligence, your character, and your consistency to the table, especially when it's hard. Because it's in the moments where most people fade that fortunes are quietly being built by those who persist. Barnum's own life proves this. Long before the fame and fortune, he was just a young man selling lottery tickets and newspapers, barely getting by. But he leaned in. He studied human nature. He paid attention. He took risks. He failed. A lot. But he kept showing up, fully, even when the return wasn't immediate. And that effort compounded, not just in money, but in mindset. He's not telling you to burn out. He's telling you to stop coasting. To stop assuming your average effort is going to lead to extraordinary outcomes. Because it won't. Wealth, real wealth, isn't built on wishful thinking or scattered effort. It's built on total focus and daily excellence, applied to something real, even if it starts small. And that leads us to something powerful: respect for the work you've chosen. Barnum reminds us that there is dignity in any honest business, as long as it's pursued with full attention. Too many people look for something more glamorous, while ignoring the simple opportunities right in front of them. They chase status instead of value. But money doesn't respond to ego, it responds to usefulness. And usefulness comes from mastery. So, whatever you're doing, selling, teaching, building, serving, do it like your fortune depends on it. Because it might. Barnum puts it plainly. The person who sweeps streets with excellence is more likely to succeed than the one who dreams of being a CEO but avoids every challenge. You don't rise by wishing, you rise by working. That doesn't mean you're stuck where you are. It just means that how you do something matters more than what you do. If you bring your full self to what's in front of you today, you'll open doors tomorrow that lazy people never even knew existed. So before chasing the next big thing, stop and ask yourself, am I giving this everything I've got? Or am I holding back, waiting for a better moment? Because Barnum would tell you, the best moment is now. The best strategy is focus. And the best way to make money. Choose your field and go all in. Part 2. Don't try to look rich. Barnum wasn't against wealth. Far from it. He believed in wealth. He built it, celebrated it, protected it. But what he warned against, what he saw ruin people over and over, was the obsession with looking wealthy before actually becoming wealthy. He saw it everywhere, even back in the 1800s. People would spend their last dime trying to wear the right clothes, furnish their homes with things they couldn't afford, throw parties to impress people they didn't respect, and take on debt just to feel like they were part of some upper circle. And for what? The result was always the same. They ended up broke, embarrassed, and stuck in a cycle of pretending. Barnum believed that the worst thing you could do for your financial future was to spend money trying to look like you had more of it. Because not only does that behavior drain your actual resources, it distracts you from the real work of building wealth, which is quiet, steady, and often invisible from the outside. He tells you flat out, live below your means, even when you're on your way up. Don't chase luxury. Don't chase image. Chase value, reputation, usefulness. Those are the assets that compound. The rest? They depreciate the moment you buy them. What makes this advice so powerful is how it cuts through modern noise. Today, we live in a world where image is currency. Where you can rent a car, buy followers, and filter your life to look like something it isn't. But none of that pays your bills. None of it builds equity. None of it earns trust in the real world. Barnum reminds us that the true signs of wealth aren't loud. They're found in habits, not handbags. They're built on consistency, not clout. Real wealth moves quietly, often invisibly, while fake wealth always needs an audience. He respected people who could walk into a room in plain clothes, speak clearly, and carry themselves with dignity, because they weren't trying to prove anything. They didn't need to. Their track record spoke for itself. There's a line in the book that sums this up perfectly. It is better to be a respectable man than to appear to be one. Let that sink in. Barnum knew that the pressure to seem successful is one of the most dangerous mental traps you can fall into, because the moment you prioritize perception over progress, you start making decisions for the wrong reasons. You start spending instead of investing. You chase admiration instead of actual value. And before long, you're broke, but polished. He's not saying to live like a hermit or avoid enjoying your money. He's saying don't fake a life you haven't built yet. Don't fear modesty. Don't fear simplicity. Because in that simplicity, there's a kind of power. You don't owe anyone a performance. What you owe yourself is freedom, and freedom doesn't come from flexing. It comes from ownership, discipline, cash flow, clear priorities. So before buying the next thing just to impress someone, pause. Ask yourself, am I spending this money to grow my life? Or to protect my image? Because wealth built on image is fragile. But wealth built on truth, on real numbers, real habits, real restraint, is unshakable. And Barnum would tell you, don't dress for the life you want. Work for it. Earn it. Own it. Then, and only then, enjoy it fully, without debt, without guilt, and without needing anyone's approval. Part 3. Your reputation is your real capital. Barnum knew a lot about money. He made millions, lost fortunes, built empires. But even after all that, he still believed the most valuable asset a person could own wasn't gold, land, or a bank account, it was reputation. In his world, and in ours, money flows where trust exists. You can have all the talent, all the ambition, all the clever business ideas, but if people don't trust you, you'll struggle. If they hesitate to believe your word, your offer, or your reliability, then they'll hesitate to work with you. And hesitation is death in business. So Barnum focused on something most people overlook, being known for integrity. That didn't mean perfection. It meant consistency. Doing what you said you would do. Showing up on time. Being transparent about your intentions. Delivering more than what you promised. Protecting your name, not with drama, but with decisions. He believed that a single broken promise could undo years of credibility, and once credibility is gone, rebuilding it is slow, painful, and expensive. Worse, without trust, even your best ideas lose value. People might respect your skills, but they won't back you. They might admire your image, but they won't invest in you. They might cheer your words, but they won't follow your lead. Because trust isn't built on what you say. It's built on what you repeatedly do. Barnum shares stories of businessmen who were clever, connected, even wealthy, but who lacked personal discipline, or treated others with carelessness, or tried to outsmart people instead of serve them. And one by one, they fell. Not because the world was unfair, but because their character couldn't carry the weight of their ambition. So he flips the script. Build a name that works for you when you're not in the room. Let your track record speak louder than your marketing. Let your honesty become a magnet. Let your dependability be your brand. And here's the twist. When you focus on reputation first, money becomes a byproduct. People refer you. They want to be associated with you. They bring you deals. They give you second chances when you mess up, because your past behavior built equity. That's a kind of capital that doesn't crash with the market. It doesn't get taxed. It doesn't expire. It just grows. Quietly, powerfully, organically. And it works even if you're not famous. You don't need 1 million followers to build reputation. You need one thing: integrity in motion. You need to treat every client, every interaction, every contract, every handshake like it matters, because it does. So Barnum would ask you, are you consistent, even when no one's watching? Are you the same person in private that you pretend to be in public? Do people leave interactions with you thinking, I'd trust them with more next time? If the answer is yes, you're already building wealth, even if you don't see the dollars yet. If the answer is no, now's the perfect time to fix it. Not with image, with action. Because your reputation is the foundation money stands on. And no fortune survives when it's built on shaky ground. Part 4. Don't count on luck. Barnum saw it all. Fortunes built from scratch. Fortunes lost overnight. Talented people failing. Average people rising. And through it all, he came to a firm conclusion. Relying on luck is just another form of laziness. He wasn't against chance. He understood that circumstances matter. Timing matters. Opportunities come and go. But what he couldn't stand was how people waited for luck instead of preparing for it. How they sat idle, daydreaming about a big break, instead of getting their hands dirty and building something steady. He saw this pattern again and again. People betting their lives on lotteries, wild business schemes, risky investments they didn't understand, or waiting for a wealthy relative to die. People who had time, health, and energy, but refused to use it, clinging to some fantasy that luck would drop from the sky and fix their lives. But that's not how success works. Not in Barnum's day. Not now. He says plainly, the man who depends upon chance will most often be disappointed. It's not pessimism. It's realism. Because chance might give you a win once. But it won't build you a system. It won't teach you how to repeat success. It won't give you the habits you need when things get hard. Luck, by its nature, is unpredictable. And anything you build on it becomes just as fragile. That's why Barnum always bet on preparedness. He believed that people who kept showing up, learning, practicing, and adapting, those people created their own luck over time. They didn't wait for lightning. They built the storm. He puts it this way: energy and patience in business are as sure of success as that tomorrow's sun will rise. Because those qualities, energy, patience, consistency, create outcomes you can trust. They might not give you the instant dopamine hit of a big gamble, but they build wealth that actually lasts. And Barnum knew firsthand what it was like to lose. He had his ups and downs. At one point, he went bankrupt, but he didn't blame luck. He didn't retreat into excuses. He rebuilt. He regrouped. He doubled down on what he could control, and because of that, he came back stronger. That's the mindset shift. Stop waiting, start working. Don't waste your mental energy hoping. Use that energy to prepare, to create, to execute. Because when opportunity shows up, and eventually it will, the question won't be, did I get lucky? The question will be, was I ready? And most people aren't. They say they want more, but they're not training for more. They want the reward, but avoid the repetition. They envy the successful, but won't copy the boring habits that made them that way. So Barnum offers a wake-up call. Fortune favors the focused, not the fantasizers. He's not asking you to reject all risk. He's asking you to stop outsourcing your future to chance. Because the person who moves every day with discipline, who sharpens their craft, who saves more than they spend, who honors their word and thinks long-term, that person becomes so consistent that people start calling it luck. But it's not luck. It's design. It's deliberate. It's earned. And if you're willing to put in the work, it's possible for you too. No scratch-offs, no shortcuts, no wishful thinking required. Part 5, Self-Respect, comes first. There's a moment in The Art of Getting Money where Barnum says something that stops you cold. No man can rise in the world who degrades himself. And that's it, really. That's the foundation. Because behind every successful business, every solid reputation, every fortune honestly earned, there's someone who believes they're worth something, who respects themselves enough to act with intention, discipline, and pride. And someone who doesn't, eventually falls. Self-respect, Barnum says, is where wealth begins, not on the outside, but on the inside. If you don't respect your time, you'll waste it. If you don't respect your money, you'll spend it carelessly. If you don't respect your own name, you'll make choices that damage it. And if you don't believe in your value, the world won't either. Barnum saw it all the time. Talented people who sold themselves short. Skilled workers who undercharged, over-apologized, or let others walk all over them because they didn't believe they had the right to ask for more. People who accepted mediocrity, not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked inner confidence. And here's where it gets real. He's not just talking about self-esteem. He's talking about how your behavior reflects what you believe you're worth. Do you show up late to your own goals? Do you accept disrespect from clients because you're afraid to lose the sale? Do you say yes to things that drain you, just to avoid confrontation? All of that is self-respect in disguise. Barnum believed that people with true self-respect move differently. They walk into a room calmly. They speak with clarity. They don't chase, they attract. They don't boast, they deliver. And people notice. Not because they're loud, but because they're solid. That solidity, that quiet inner conviction, is magnetic. It makes you trustworthy. It makes you referable. It makes people want to do business with you. Not because you beg them to, but because they can feel that you take yourself seriously, and they trust that you'll treat their needs the same way. That's wealth energy. And it starts with how you talk to yourself when no one's watching. It's also why Barnum places so much importance on clean habits. Not because it's moral, but because habits reflect what you think you deserve. A messy life creates a messy mind. A messy mind leads to scattered decisions. And scattered decisions lead to financial chaos. So if you want to attract better outcomes, Barnum says, start by acting like someone who already does. Not in a fake-it-till-you-make kind of way, but in a my life is a reflection of what I believe about myself kind of way. He'd say, clean your desk. Organize your accounts. Track your spending. Improve your skills. Raise your standards. Charge what you're worth, and deliver more than you promised. Not because the market demands it, but because you demand it of yourself. The world pays people who respect their own time. The world opens doors for people who carry themselves with dignity. The world listens to people who don't need to prove anything, because their presence already speaks. So Barnum would ask you, are your daily actions reflecting the person you want to become? Are you treating your time, your money, and your energy like they matter? Are you moving like someone who deserves to win? Because if you're not, the money may still come, but it won't stay. Only self-respect can hold it. Part 6. Don't spread yourself too thin. Barnum was surrounded by dreamers. Ambitious people with big ideas, great energy, and endless enthusiasm. But time and again, he watched those same people burn out, go broke, or lose control. Not because they lacked ability, but because they couldn't stay still long enough to let one thing grow. They were constantly chasing the next opportunity. Starting one business while launching another. Jumping from job to job. Idea to idea. Always moving. Rarely building. And he saw the truth. Scattered energy leads to scattered results. So Barnum's advice was simple and sharp. Engage in one kind of business only, and stick to it faithfully until you succeed. It's not that he was against big dreams. He was living proof that you could build something huge. But what he understood, what most people still miss, is that success demands depth before expansion. You can't build 10 bridges at once. You build one strong enough to cross. Then another. And that means saying no. Not just to distractions, but to good ideas that aren't the right idea for you right now. That's hard. Especially if you're ambitious. Especially if you're creative. But Barnum saw that most fortunes weren't made by people doing more. They were made by people doing less, better. And he practiced what he preached. While he was known as the greatest showman, he wasn't all over the place. He focused. First it was the museum. Then it was promotion. Then it was performance. But each one came after the other, built deliberately from the foundation up. He respected specialization, because specialization builds mastery, and mastery builds trust, and trust brings opportunity. But the person who tries to do everything, they become known for nothing. They dilute their brand. They exhaust their energy. They get bored the second it gets hard, and end up with 10 half-built dreams and no income. Barnum's advice hits hard here. Many a man acquires a fortune by doing one thing, while others starve in trying to do everything. It's not about limiting your ambition. It's about directing it. Laser focus is what cuts through noise. It's what builds momentum. It's what makes people pay attention. And in a world that's louder than ever, focus has become a form of wealth in itself. So here's how you apply this. Choose one thing. Not forever, but for now. Something real. Something aligned. Something you can master. Eliminate distractions that pretend to be opportunities. If it's pulling you away from your core thing, it's not helping, it's slowing you down. Build depth before width. Barnum would say, get great at one business, one skill, one lane. Let that success buy you the freedom to expand later. Because there's nothing wrong with having multiple passions. But there's a huge risk in trying to monetize them all at once. So be honest. Are you building something real? Or are you just staying busy to avoid the discomfort of commitment? Because Barnum would remind you, discipline beats talent. Focus beats inspiration. And one strong stream of income beats 5 weak ones every single time. Part 7. Make money serve you, not control you. After everything Barnum teaches, all the discipline, focus, patience, self-respect, he closes with a truth that flips the entire game. Money is a tool. Nothing more. Nothing less. It's not a god to worship. It's not a prize to prove your worth. It's a tool to help you live well, with dignity, with freedom, with joy. But here's the problem. Most people get that backwards. They work so hard to earn money that they forget why they wanted it in the first place. They sacrifice their health chasing more. They wreck relationships in the name of success. They hoard instead of enjoy. And eventually, the money owns them. But Barnum believed in something better. Earn abundantly, spend wisely, and live with purpose. He wasn't afraid of wealth. He wanted you to prosper. But only if you stayed clear-headed about what wealth is for. He believed that money should support your values, not replace them. That it should give you more time for what matters, not trap you in a race you can't stop running. That it should be respected, yes, but never feared or worshipped. And the way you avoid falling into that trap is by remembering one simple idea. You are not your income. Your worth doesn't rise and fall with your bank account. Your identity isn't tied to your latest deal, your last launch, or your next big number. Money is a vehicle. You decide where it goes. You decide what it means. And Barnum urges you to make sure that meaning is grounded in something deeper than status. Because what's the point of a fortune if you're anxious, angry, or alone? What good is wealth if your life is hollow? That's why he says to give back, once you're able. Help others rise. Invest in your community. Be generous without ego. Because money that flows outward multiplies, not just in value, but in meaning. He also reminds you to enjoy your life. Don't wait until you're 70 to start living. Don't put off joy in the name of someday. Build wealth, yes, but also build memories. Buy the book. Take the trip. Give the gift. Live like someone who worked hard to be free, and actually chose to be. Barnum believed that real wealth is not measured in dollars. It's measured in freedom, in time, in peace of mind. And no amount of money can buy those things unless you've designed your life to honor them. So if you followed his principles, if you've worked with integrity, stayed focused, lived below your means, built a strong reputation, and earned with purpose, then you're already ahead of 99% of people. Now the question becomes, will you let money control your life? Or will you control it and use it to build something that lasts? Because getting money is an art, but so is keeping it, and so is using it wisely. That's the final piece of Barnum's philosophy. Earn it, own it, use it well, and then let it enhance your life, not define it. Conclusion. So here's what P.T. Barnum left us, a blueprint that still works 150+ years later. Show up fully. Stop pretending. Protect your name. Don't count on luck. Respect yourself. Focus deeply. And use money as a tool, not a crutch, not a god, not a mask. If you live this way, Barnum would say, you're already rich. Because real wealth isn't about what you have. It's about who you're becoming along the way. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment below. Backhand index pointing right. What part of Barnum's message hit you the hardest? Backhand index pointing right. What's one change you'll make this week to treat your money and your mindset with more respect? And if this breakdown helped you see money differently, grab the full book using the affiliate link in the description. It supports the Compact Wisdom channel and puts this timeless philosophy in your hands. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. This is where old-school wisdom meets modern clarity, and where we turn deep ideas into real-life transformation. Thanks for being here. Now go live, build, prosper, and don't just chase money, master it.